Well, good afternoon. It is Tuesday, May the 12th, 2020. Journal 338. T+407, perhaps. And an interesting morning and afternoon so far. There are times when let's start over again. Generally, I write and record on the same day. It makes sense, right? Sometimes I write first and then record. Sometimes I record first and then write. It just depends on where whatever thoughts pop into my head tend to take me. Every once in a while, I'll write and then put something on what I love to refer to as a 24-hour sanity hold. I want to go ahead and put something away for at least 24 hours and then come back to it, see how it feels, see how it looks, see if it says what I want to say. And sometimes lament the fact that I'm stuck wondering who wrote it or why. And why they felt compelled to say it, because it makes no sense. This isn't one of those posts. This is one of those posts that I came back to, and it did make sense for a number of different reasons. And I hope some of them are clear when we're done. I live in a place where the earth moves. I live in Southern California. We don't know when, but we certainly know that it is more a matter of when than it is a matter of if. Sooner or later, the ground's going to move. Sometimes it moves more violently than others, but we know that the ground is going to move, and that's taught us how to live with insecurity to a large degree. Those are all lessons that really, in a very powerful way, help me get through the diagnosis of primary myelofibrosis, bone marrow cancer, that I received back in 2014. There are also lessons that help me get through the stem cell bone marrow transplant. And to some degree, they're helping right now to help confront the coronavirus C-19, COVID-19 pandemic crisis we're all facing. Because they teach you about the things that you can control, and they teach you about the things that you cannot. My primary myelofibrosis taught me about confronting my own mortality. It taught me a lot about the precious nature of life and the morbid realities of being faced with my own death. At the same time, my stem cell bone marrow transplant taught me how to focus on the positive while ignoring just about everything else, which are lessons that really can't be overemphasized. And I wish to some degree there are lessons that people could learn without having to be confronted with life-threatening illnesses. The problem is that it sounds easier than it is. Being confronted with any serious illness, certainly a chronic or terminal illness, even one that you're able to overcome, is compounded by a certain level of post-traumatic stress that's the result of never knowing when or if your recovery might be compromised. The stress is real and it won't go away. You can't make it go away. As a matter of fact, perhaps the harder you try to make it go away, the more likely it is to bubble to the surface, and the more often it is going to bubble to the surface. And even if you're successful in suppressing it for a time through meditation and mindfulness and being otherwise occupied with things that are important to you, it's always there. It's just below the surface. It's something that you have to learn to cope with. You have to learn to live with. The thing that's really interesting, perhaps more than anything else, is that there are similarities between the current coronavirus C19 crisis, living in a place where the ground moves underneath your feet and can become really unstable, and the diagnosis of a serious or a severe illness, share things in common. And one of the things they share in common is that they're all things the human spirit is capable of transcending, or at least they are things that I've found the human spirit capable of transcending. They're all things you and I are capable of dealing with, things we can actually exercise some level of power, some degree of power over. We can't stop the ground from moving. You and I both know that, any more than you can stop a tornado or a cyclone or a tsunami or a flood, or a mudslide or a fire. We can't will the virus or a terminal illness to disappear. It's not likely to listen. But what we can do, what we are capable of, is we can control how we act, how we react, and how we interact with each other in order to get through any of these challenges, in order to meet any of these challenges head on, in order to transcend any of the challenges that we're asked to confront. We may not be able to control it, whatever it may be, right? But we can control us. We can control ourselves. We can control our response. We can control all of those things. And that's significant. It's significant for a number of different reasons, not the least of which is it's likely that is how we'll be judged by others. But more importantly, it's significant because it's more than likely how we'll judge ourselves as we move through time and space together. Is there a lesson here? Obviously, I think there is, otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it. But here's what I think. I think the very act of waking up each morning, the very act of living, places each one of us, all of us, every one of us, on shaky ground every day. Life is filled with unforeseen challenges, all of which defy preparation in many cases. Challenges that require flexibility and resilience. Trials that demand choices, right? Choices each of us will be asked to make over time. Challenges that each of us will have to confront and then ultimately transcend. The ground may be shaky, insubstantial, unreliable, but we don't have to be. We don't have to be. We can be strong, resilient, resolute, steadfast, solid. All of those things, because they're all critical elements for success in a world that is unstable and perhaps sometimes unforgiving. I think it's something to consider, something to think about. I think it's something to really give some thought to while you stay safe, stay home, stay well, stay focused, and take care. Thank you.